Today we are doing mobility and core. We are going to spend 30 minutes moving our body through a flow, engaging core muscles, really working on improving range of motion and just giving our body kind of the nice low-key break after a long week of hard workouts, but still putting in some effort here and getting the job done. Start on the mat. Let's just start with some breath work here. Breathe in. Exhale, release tension. Deep breath in. Exhale. Again, deep breath in, reach for the ceiling. Exhale. Bring your fingers together in front of you, clasp your hands, and you're going to rotate right to left. Twisting through the torso, using your arms to give you a little extra pull through that rotation. Back to the center. Go ahead and drop your head to the right. Get a nice long stretch through the neck. Go ahead and straighten your head, left side. And go ahead and straighten your head, tilt your chin down towards your chest. Lift your chin, roll your shoulders back, take a nice wide stance on your mat. We're going to start with up and over reaches. So the right hand is going to reach up and over as the left hand pulls in the opposite direction, through the center and over to the other side. Now you're going to breathe in the center, breathe out on the reach. Come back to the center. You're going to take that reach down to your toes, opposite hand to the opposite toe. Push your butt back and then stand up nice and tall, alternating sides. One more each side. All right, go ahead and widen the foot placement just a little bit here. We're going to drop down to the right side, all the way down to the mat into a Cossack squat. You can turn your left foot, toes up to the ceiling. And then you are going to straighten that right leg, walk your hands over to the left side, down into a Cossack squat on the left side. And you're just going to alternate right, over to the left. Taking your time, sinking into that stretch. One more each side. Walk your hands to the center, still in forward fold. Walk your heels and toes in just a little bit so your feet are a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. Bend at the knees and drop your hips down into a Frogger squat. We're going to rotate up to the ceiling, right arm reaches. Back down to the mat, over to the left side. Back down to the mat, right. Left. Continue to alternate. Really trying to pull further into a deep range of motion with each rep. Back to the center, hands on the mat, straighten your legs, lift your butt up into the air, into forward fold. Bend the knees, drop your butt back down into that deep squat, chest stays tall. Again, straighten your legs, push your hips up to the ceiling. Bend the knees back down into that deep squat. One more time, hips up. Hips down. This time, when you push your hips to the ceiling, you're going to walk your heels and toes all the way to the center. Slowly roll your shoulders up to the ceiling. Shake things out. You're going to turn sideways on the mat. I'm going to turn this way. I'm going to have you walk your hands down to the mat and out into a full plank. We're going to hold here. So we're going to start to bring in some of that core work I was talking about. Shoulders are stacked over your wrists, butt is down, core is engaged. Nice steady hold. Go ahead and lift your hips up to the ceiling, pushing your butt back into downward dog. You can start a soft knee pedal right to left, pushing your heels down and then alternating that gentle lift up. Get a good calf stretch going through your legs. Stretch through the shoulders. 2 and 1. Both heels down. Draw your hips forward back into that plank hold. We're going to do alternating knee drives now from this hold. So you're going to drive the right knee forward, step it back, left knee forward, and step it back. Go ahead and alternate right to left. Keeping your butt nice and low, and again, shoulders stacked over your wrists. Make sure you're breathing throughout this movement. Let's go 2, 1. Step it back. Go ahead and drop your knees to the mat and sit it back in child's pose. From child's pose, you're going to take your right hand, scoop it under the left side of your body, and sink in, stretching through the shoulder. Go ahead and reach forward. Left arm scoops under the right side. Bring it back to the center, up onto all fours. Let's go in for a little bit more core work here. So onto your right side, right elbow is down. Go ahead and lift up into that side plank. We're going to hold for 30 seconds, and then we are going to add a bit of a hip dip here. Now when we get to the hip dip, if you want to drop your lower leg, so bend the knee, drop the leg to the ground for support, that is just fine. Here we go. Drop the right hip down to the mat and lift. Drop and lift, drop, and lift. Keep it on. One more. Go ahead and lower your hips to the ground, all the way down to the mat. Bend the knees. We're going to move into clamshell. So just the top leg is going to lift and close. One more. Straighten those legs. Left leg, abduction, leg lift, and down. Last one. All right, up onto all fours. We're going to go over to that right leg, just going for some glute kickbacks with the leg bent. So you're going to press your heel up through the ceiling. Keep some tension in your glutes, some tension in your core. Okay, get ready to pulse for the last 15 seconds at the top of the kick right here. Little pulses, half inch up, half inch down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and sit it back in child's pose. Nice work. We're going to repeat that sequence on the left side. But first, a nice stretch here. Go ahead and come up onto all fours. We're going to move through cat-cow. So tilting the hips down, the butt bone down towards the mat, round your back up to the ceiling. And then pull the belly button down to the mat. Again, round the spine up to the ceiling. Pull your belly button down towards the mat. Let's do one more. All right, nice work. Over to the left side, up into that side plank, so left elbow is down. Lift your hips up off the mat, and we are going to start with just a hold. As we get into these hip dips, remember you can bend the lower leg, drop it to the floor for some support. Here we go, drop the hip down and lift. Down and lift. One more. All right, drop the hip all the way down to the mat. Bend your legs, clamshells, right leg lifts, and down. That was cute, thank you. One more. Straighten those legs, leg lifts. Right leg up and down. seconds. All right, nice work. Up onto all fours. Left side, glute kickbacks. We're going to get ready for that pulse at the top of the kick. Here we go. Half-inch pulses. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and sit it back in child's pose. Stretch out those glutes. All right, you can dry yourself up out of child's pose. We're going to get back into a little bit of stretching here. We're going to start with the hip flexors, right leg in front in a half kneeling position. You're going to push forward into that stretch. What I want you to think about here is keeping your hips nice and level. So the right foot's in front. The tendency is to let the right hip come forward into the stretch. I want you to pull that back, keep things nice and even as we shift forward into this stretch, okay? So, pushing that knee over the toes, hips stay level, chest stays tall. Get a little deeper into that stretch. All right, tuck the left toes under, lift your back leg up off the ground. I'm going to move into a runner's lunge rotation so that left hand is flat on the mat. Open up to the right side. And then back down to the mat. Again, open up to that right side. Down to the mat. One more time. Open. Down to the mat. You can let your back knee drop. Shift your hips backwards. So sit back into a half split here. You'll feel the stretch through that front leg. Now we're going to move back into that hip flexor stretch and we're going to push forward, move back, and a little bit of movement to this stretch. So draw yourself forward, stretch through the hip flexor, and then push yourself back into that half split again. Forward, and back, forward, and back. One more time, forward, and then come back to neutral. You're going to switch sides, right leg back, left foot forward, and go ahead and push forward into that hip flexor stretch, and we're going to hold here. Go ahead and tuck the toes under on your right foot. Lift that back knee off the ground. Right hand flat on the mat. And go ahead and open that left arm up to the ceiling. Down to the mat. Open. And down. last reach open. And down, drop that back knee and go ahead and sit back into that half split. All right, let's turn this into dynamic movement. Go ahead and bring yourself forward into that hip flexor stretch. And then sit it back. Draw yourself forward. Sit back. Forward. And back. One more time. Forward. Sit it back. Come to neutral, both knees back. Let's flip it around. We're gonna get back into some ab movements here. I want you on your back, legs are straight. We're gonna alternate pulling up into a full kind of scissor hold here. So your shoulders are up off the ground, your core is nice and tight. And alternate leg lifts here, pulling the leg in towards your body for a little stretch. One more each side. Go ahead and relax, feet down to the mat, shoulders down to the mat. Place your hands at your sides, thumbs under your butt, legs right up towards the ceiling. We're gonna do lying leg lifts here, so slowly drop your heels towards the floor until they're 1 to 2 inches above the floor, and go ahead and pull them right back up to the top. Take these nice and slow. Try to keep your lower back pressed down into the mat. This is going to help you engage your core more than those hip flexors. Let's do 2 more. Go ahead and drop your heels all the way to the mat, feet flat on the ground, knees are bent. We're going to switch right into glute bridges. Press up to the ceiling, hips down. So you want to engage the glutes the entire time here. Squeezing at the bottom and lifting as high as you can into that glute bridge. All right, last glute bridge. You're going to hold at the top. From here, you're going to march right leg up, down, left leg up, and down. Keep it going. Last one. Excellent. Butt to the ground. Go ahead and pull your knees up to your shoulders, up to your chest. Nice stretch through the glutes here. Go ahead and release. Sit up nice and tall, move into butterfly stretch. So feet together, knees drop to the side. I want you to stay nice and tall for the first half of this stretch. Slowing your breathing. Releasing tension from wherever you feel it. Go ahead and shift your torso forward, giving a little bit of an extra stretch through the hip flexors and the adductors and the lower back here. All right, let's finish up with a little bit more core work. You're gonna go into an elbow plank. Step it out. Nice straight lines here to finish things up. What I want you to do is think about the string pulling your back up to the ceiling from your belly button, and then the string releases and you let your hips drop back down into that plank. Again, lift. And relax, lift, and relax, lift, and relax, lift, and relax. Let's do one more, lift. And this time you're going to relax your hips all the way down to the mat into Cobra. Hands on the mat, you're going to push yourself up into full Cobra. Shift your hips back into child's pose. We're going to move between these two holds. So back into Cobra. Hips back into child's pose. Cobra. Child's pose. This time when you pull your shoulders forward, I want you to come into a full plank straight arm. We're going to continue that movement pattern though, so I want you to shift your hips back and up into down dog, forward into plank. Shift your hips into down dog, pull forward into plank. Shift your hips back and up into down dog, forward into plank, hips back, forward into plank. One more time, hips back, forward into plank. And then I want you to start to walk your toes forward towards your hands into forward fold. Slowly roll your shoulders up to the ceiling. Shoulder rolls in reverse direction. Shake everything out. And release. You are done. Have a great day.